Hello and welcome! It is Vintage Super League time once again. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm joined by Brian Kelly. How are
Hello,
things,
everyone.
champ?
Things are going pretty well here. I'm definitely excited to be on the VSL tonight. I brought something that I have wanted to try for a few years now.
Yes. Tell us
Yep.
about this deck.
Well, it's vintage Enchantress. It's not legacy Enchantress. It's not, you can't really like try to put a bunch of wild growths on your tropical island in vintage. It'll be like Wasteland, and then you're down 3 cards for 1.
Not so much, sure.
But I started playing it around 2 weeks ago. And here's the beginning of the thought process. I was like, all right, I'm 1-2. So even if you like factor in slightly better matches, there's only around a 12.5% chance that I'm going to advance. So it's kind of a long shot, even if I play.
You have to get to 4-2. So you have to go 3-0 tonight to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4-2 is the magic number for anyone who hasn't been here the whole season. Okay, continue.
So I could play the most competitive deck in the format, or one of the big four, and try to go 3-0, and you'd still only have a 12.5% chance. Or I could play something that I've always wanted to play and maybe have an 11% chance. And overall the difference is so slight that I thought it would be worth it to play something that I really have a lot of fun with when I play. So I brought Enchantress.
Nice. I ran into you in a league while you were testing this deck, right?
Yes, everyone. Randy was playing Mono Blue Belcher.
I was.
And I put a Song of the Dryads on his Tolarian Academy.
True story. You also had Stony Silence main deck at that point.
I did.
So
that's
yeah.
That's the value of testing, because I actually did test this. A lot of times my decks, they look like a pile, they look like a Highlander deck. And I'm not going to say that it's the end result of such beautifully calibrated sophistication, because that would be, narcissistic and ridiculous. It's not. Like, I'm not perfect. Magic is like an art and a science, and I have a little bit more of the art and the science, but there's both of it there. I mean, there were a lot of games I played, and I learned that Stony Silence actually isn't that good. I mean, you think I'll play Vintage Enchantress, one of the first things that comes to mind is, hey, Stony Silence would be great.
So not all your opponents were on Belcher like I was?
No. In practice, Stony Silence is good against Paradoxical Outcome until it gets repealed. They repeal it and then they just kill you. And it's not good against Workshops, because I don't want to prevent them from using the Steel Overseer. I want to play Worship with an Enchantress, or I want to play Rest in Peace and Energy Field or a Moat, and Stony Silence actually hurts me more than it hurts them, because I need my mana sources.
Yeah, there are, speaking of hateful enchantments, 3 copies of Rest in Peace in the main, and it's more than just hating out enemy, graveyard strategies. Rest in Peace Energy Field is a nutso combo against anybody who's trying to damage you with, damage creatures.
Yeah, I was all in on Worship. I thought Worship would be the best one, and I had bad experiences in the past with Energy Field. Bear in mind that I played during Urza Saga, so I remember Energy Field like always being destroyed. It was like, it seems so powerful, but it always gets destroyed. So I tested Energy Field, and I was like, I think I like Energy Field Rest in Peace more than Enchantress Worship. Not enough that I cut the Worship entirely.
Why not both?
Yeah, but the Energy Fields actually ended up being better. And then I thought, you know what? Let's go up to 3 Rest in Peace, because I have feelings about Dredge. But also, I really don't like playing against a Xerox deck when they have access to their graveyard. I don't want them snapcasting anything back. Their deck only has 4 Haymakers in it. It has Treasure Cruise, Gush, Ancestral Recall, and Dig Through Time. And if you play a Rest in Peace, like, that cuts off the Dig Through Time and the Treasure Cruise, and it prevents the Snapcaster Ancestral. And I only want them to play Time Walk once. I hate it. So I found that I'm really uncomfortable playing this deck against Xerox if I don't have Rest in Peace in play, but I feel a lot better when I have it in play. So I was like, let's play 3 of them.
Okay.
It's really good. I mean, there's Survival out there. There's Bizarre Dredge. It's quite a house against Bug, especially the version with the Tarmogoyfs. Now, I liked it. And then the Energy Field made it so that it's not a dead card. And of course, the redundant Rest in Peace will cycle if you have an Enchantress in play. Like I always want to draw an enchantment. So yeah, I went to
I'm
3.
buying it. I am buying what you are selling right now, sir. You
Thank
got
you.
me convinced. I know I want to go try this deck out. Is it legit competitive? Like, are we maybe not quite big 4 tier 1, but close enough?
It's Belcher level. Like you said, it's a 3-2
Okay.
deck. Sometimes you go 4-1. Sometimes you go 2-3. A lot of times you go 3-2.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it can certainly win games. It's like a hybrid of Standstill and Sylvan Mentor, because like the win cons are it's a lot of legit vintage cards. I mean, it's Monastery Mentor, Force of Will, Flusterstorm, Dragon Lord Dramoka, the eternal vintage staple, and it's powerful against rogue strategies because you can really silver bullet them. Like a lot of decks just lose to Moat. There are decks that just lose to Rest in Peace. There are decks that just lose to Eidolon of Rhetoric, which I have in the sideboard. I love that card.
Awesome.
And go on.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm delighted that you brought it. I look forward to getting to watch it. But it's not the only crazy deck we've got on tap tonight.
No.
The spread of decks tonight is just off the charts bonkers. It's
very entertaining. I saw that Brian, our current North American champ, brought lands.
He did.
Which is, that's a smart choice because Brian is an excellent player. I have seen him play, and I have played against him several times throughout the years at random events. I think even in a side event at the One Champs. And he's a very good player, and lands performs very well with an expert pilot. And if you're playing against lands, you really have to be mentally engaged the whole time. So I think that's a good choice because it allows him to leverage his play skill.
Okay. It's been starting to put up some results lately too, right? I mean, I saw a 5-0 list with lands. I think it made a run in a recent vintage challenge.
It's been around. It shows up every now and then. I think we saw it on a prior season. I think LSD's team, didn't they play like all bizarre decks the 1 week? They were like, go ahead, try to ban them all or
right.
Something
yeah,
like
no,
that.
They had a land deck that didn't look amazing, but I have definitely seen some results lately, and it's almost like Fast Bond is so good in that deck. You get that in vintage. Like anyone who's played Legacy lands, just imagine if you got to have access to Fast Bond, right? Only the one. It is restricted, but you wind up just overloading enemy missteps. And then the list Brian has, which is what I've seen, kind of the tech that I've noticed lately having a little bit more success in vintage, is you run your own mental missteps, which I got to imagine are mostly to counter their freaking mental missteps.
Yeah.
You have so many 1-mana cards, you need to kind of get the engine going.
Absolutely, like the explorations, and his crop rotation is in the sideboard, which is interesting.
Oh, maybe are all his rotations in the sideboard? That is the other 1-mana spell that people are like, oh, you can't play this in vintage because of mental misstep. It's like, well,
maybe he thought like against a deck that isn't on blue or isn't on mental misstep that he could bring in the crop rotation.
That makes sense.
And he's playing against Workshop round 1, where we have the players ready to go. I've heard that this matchup can benefit lands. I've heard that it can be favorable for lands, and I haven't seen it too often. So I guess we'll all see.
We will. Didn't even have time to talk about the Belcher deck that Bob Maher is playing, but that's later. For now, lands against Metallic Mimic Workshop. Let's head down to the first match.